Gauteng. Thank you very much for joining our meeting this morning. We have received only one apology. Honorable Bosch, who will be attending a ministerial briefing on water and sanitation. That's the only apology that we have received this morning. Thank you very much. In terms of announcement, members are reminded once more to complete the declaration forms and submit to the Office of the Integrity Commissioner not later than the 21st of March. And I'm sure today we're aware that is the 15th. So 21st, it's how many days from today? 6 days from today. And we're also encouraged to seek one-on-one support from the Office of the IC in relation to the completing of forms if you have a challenge. Is there a member who wants to put an announcement? There's no one, including those that are joining virtually. I now call upon Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Magagula, to present a motion without notice in terms of Rule 120.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I, Member Tima Kakula, ANC Acting Chief Whip, hereby tables the following motion in terms of Rule 7, read together with Rules 121 and Rule 122. Read together with also Rule 138 as follows. Noting that the committee report of the Ad Hoc Committee on the recruitment of the Integrity Commissioner in terms of Rule 187, read with Rule 279, Subsection 2 of the Standing Rules was programmed for the House sitting of the 15th, 2022. Further noting, the Ad Hoc Committee on the recruitment of the Integrity Commissioner is not yet ready to table its report. We therefore request that the House resolved to remove the committee report on the Ad Hoc Committee on the recruitment of the IC in terms of Rule 187. A, Subsection A, read with Rule 279, Subsection 2 of the Standing Rules from the orders of the day, and be tabled at the future House sitting. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you. Any seconder?
I rise to second, Honourable Speaker. Member Adams.
Member who? Oh, Honourable Adams. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Honourable Adams. I now put a question to the House. All those in favour say yes. Yes. All not in favour say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted by the House. In terms of Rule 79, Subsection 1, I have not received any statements from MECs. I'll now go over to Rule 81, Subsection 1, member statement, starting with Honourable Nsekhe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On Friday, the 4th of March 2022, the Department of Social Development appeared before the Portfolio Committee for Social Development presented the third quarter performance report responses asked by the committee. During this meeting, committee members asked a question regarding the tender for school uniforms and dignity packs. The response to the department was as follows. This particular tender was put on hold until clarity was sought from National Treasury. The department further informed the committee that Treasury has sent a circular to all departments requesting them to suspend all procurement-related processes. The MEC also indicated that she was going to engage Provincial Treasury regarding the suspension of this tender. I have now learned that on the same day while we were sitting, in fact, this is the date that the tender actually went out. and with a due date, the 18th March 2022. Speaker, I smell a fat rat in this matter, and I want to state that I'm concerned that the Department of Social Development has no real respect for this legislature and believe that appearing before the Portfolio Committee is just a box-ticking exercise for them. Honourable Premier, and I'm glad you're in the House today, I'd like to ask you to investigate this matter, how the Portfolio Committee gets told that a tender has been suspended at the same time when the tender is being advertised. This, for me, is underhanded. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Honourable Shitangano.
Honourable Speaker, I stand here today with heavy heart after the recent events within the Gauteng Department of Health. It is obvious that the department is in a serious ICU and it is clear it cannot be saved or resuscitated. In these first 3 months of the year, the department has already been in the news for all wrong reasons. We noted with serious concern its failure to pay medical interns their salaries and subjecting them to humiliation and stripping them of their dignity. Honourable Speaker, the department turned these medical professionals into charity cases, whereby they had to depend on senior doctors for handouts and being indebted by borrowing money for rent and transport to and from work. Yet they are expected to report for duty and save lives. It is also emerged that Chris Hani Baragwanas has run out of food to an extent that doctors and nurses are forced to buy breakfast and lunch for patients. This is unacceptable, especially for a department that receives largest share in budget allocation every financial year. The MEC and the management team must do introspection to check if they are fit for this responsibility. Honourable Speaker, this is one department where millions of rent meant to fight COVID-19 was looted. This is a department that sentenced thousands of Gauteng residents to death when individuals and fake companies looted money meant to save lives. Members of the ANC take offense when they are called murderers and thieves, but that's exactly what they are. By failing to feed patients and expect them to take medication without fail, once under your care, it is the same as committing murder. By not paying medical staff, yet expect them to face patients on empty stomachs, is tantamount to committing murder. Serious consequences management must be implemented against people found to have been sleeping on duty, including the MEC and the management team. I salute.
Honourable Dr. Masugu.
Madam Speaker, let me get my statement. Okay. Honourable Speaker, Honourable Premier, members of the Executive, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, members of the Provincial Legislature, Madam Speaker, the African National Congress, even prior to the entering government in 1994, always placed the provision of quality health care as a key priority. In our historic document, the Freedom Charter, we said that the preventable health care scheme shall be run by the state, free medical care and hospitalization shall be provided for all, with special care for mothers and young children. When the people of our country voted for us in 1994 and in our successive election following that, they did so with the full hope that they believe that this party will be placed at the center of its policies, the aims of expanding and enhancing healthcare services. One of the areas that the ANC, particularly here in Gauteng, has sought to improve and enhance healthcare services relates to the absorption of community healthcare workers as part of the cadreship of healthcare workers in our system. The absorption of community healthcare workers by the ANC-led government in Gauteng in July 2020 was a direct response to the 2019 election manifesto commitment, wherein we acknowledged the need to give certainty to the future of community health care workers and recognize the essential role they play in the South African healthcare system. This role was also extolled by the NHI pilot project, which stated that as we move towards the implementation of NHI, we emphasize the way that healthcare will be run in the country, which is primary healthcare. It will be necessary to conclude the formalization and professionalization and agencies of community health care workers. Agencies will include the creation of an autonomous unit within the department, like the EMS and medical supply depot, where they will be able to run their own training and also look after the affairs of community health care workers. The last 2 years of dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic has also demonstrated the importance of community healthcare workers in processes such as tracking and tracing, improving compliance and dissemination of correct information directly to the households. The strides we have made as Gauteng should be made to be a national stride. But as a province, we must begin in making sure that the process of professionalization of community health care workers is a permanent and is an ongoing process of improvement. It will be imperative that as a plan should be presented to Legislature and the public of Gauteng that NHI finds community health care workers completely formalized, trained, equipped to strengthen our primary health care system. I thank you.
That concludes member statement. I want to check if is there a member who wants to give notice of a motion in terms of Rule 121. None. Thank you very much. We're now going to deal with questions for oral reply to the executive in terms of Rule 134, starting with Honorable Badenhorst to MEC for Economic Development.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning. To the MEC of Economic Development, business and economic experts say plan to safeguard local jobs with a potential foreign employment levels is, in some categories, is a step in the right direction to reduce the crippling unemployment numbers of 35%. But with this in mind, MEC, do you think it is possible to reduce the unemployment rate if you keep on excluding the colored communities out of this economy? Number two, why is it that there are no economic hubs in the colored communities up till this time? Number three, when will you, MEC, decide to bring the economic hub to these marginalized communities, or are there borders in these communities? Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Speaker, Honorable Premier, honorable members. Thank you to Honorable Badenhorst for the question. As the sixth administration, we have remained steadfast to prioritize transformation and development of all citizen communities in the Gauteng city region, improving the lives of all people, especially the poorest of the poor. Let us remember, though, the purposes for which townships and informal settlements were meant. Townships and informal settlements were originally designed by the apartheid system to be dormitories of cheap labor or low-cost temporary living areas for those who could not afford to live closer to opportunities and amenities. Excuse me. Since 1994, Honorable Speaker, various democratic dispensations have been committed to change this context and convert townships and informal settlements into catchments for various economic activities and sites for securing livelihoods that bring dignity to our people. These imperatives translate spatially in a very direct way into the mission of the Township Economic Development Policy,
of the Gauteng City region, which sets out the regulatory and policy interventions to change how commercial activity is governed and supported in township areas, with the explicit goal of expanding existing businesses in township areas and enabling the creation of new business activity to drive mass-scale employment and self-employment in deprived communities in our city region. Let us also recall that to this day, the vast majority of Black people, as defined by the BBBE Act, which includes Africans, Coloureds and Indians, and other related legislation, mostly youth and women, reside in townships and directly affected by the triple challenges of high unemployment, poverty, and inequality in the province. Progressive view to support decentralized management and data gathering and monitoring about less formal activity and activities taking place in Gauteng is being undertaken. As government and society at large, however, we should guard against any attempt to divide and create a wedge amongst the previously excluded from the mainstream of the economy. We do far better by all citizens when we forge ahead with a united programmatic approach and fast-track GGT 2030 as a plan of action to achieve a non-sectarian interventions that require support from all South Africans. It carries the shared vision and intended outputs that look set to benefit everyone without regard to political affiliation, geographic base, economic strata, or social belonging based on ethnicity or race. Therefore, the Township Economic Development Act, the industrial interventions, the township enterprise zones would be applicable in all Black areas as defined earlier, including Indian, Colored, and African townships. The project of building a country where we all feel they belong resides in working together and beyond ideological affiliations to facilitate, ultimately, sustainable job-rich growth and balanced spatial development so that we can decisively deal with our triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Thank you very much.
I will advise all honorable members who have connectivity problems not to switch on their videos. Honorable Badenos, do we have a supplementary question or a short remark?
A remark, Speaker. Thank you. Speaker, it's funny that the MEC can come with such a statement and say, yes, it's because of the BBB challenge and whatever. Speaker, for 27 years that the ANC is in power, nothing has happened in all the colored communities. It's actually a shame. It's actually a shame because our people were marginalized and excluded from the economy because of color or race. I don't know, but it seems like that because for 27 years, nothing has happened up till now. Thank you, Speaker.
I see there are two hands. Honorable Kanyile.
Speaker, I rise on Rule 134.7. I see in the question, the preamble to the question in the first question, Honorable Badenos refers to colored as foreign employees. So in other words, they are foreigners in their own country. I want to understand if the MEC can explain to us if this is, because it would seem that maybe that's how the party that Honorable Badenos belong to regard colored as foreigners. Can the MEC just explain what the ANC policy and the ANC government in Gauteng or the department is with regard to coloureds, whether they regard them as foreigners or not? Thank you.
Honorable Ghana.
Thanks very much, Madam Speaker. I rise in terms of Rule 134. and will be reported on further when the outcome of the legislation.
One, on the day of the visit of the Portfolio Committee, we did not receive a request for the committee to see all the DID employees on site. There were 49 employees on site of the 56 in the employ of the department who are stationed at Telemogorani. Attached, I do have the attendance register, and I will request, Madam Speaker, that I do not read all the names as well as all the designations of the employees who signed the attendance on the day, but 49 employees were on site. 2 of the 4 that were spotted are working on specifications for projects planned for 2022-2023 financial year. 1 employee was assisting the oversight team with the keys to the areas they wanted to see. The other employee was the chief engineer, who was with the hospital management and the oversight team from when they arrived at the hospital, and also provided responses to all the questions asked in the meeting. The chief engineer would have been able to avail all 49 of the staff members if such a request was made by the Portfolio Committee. The technical teams were attending to defects throughout the hospital, others managing ongoing projects on site with contractors, and we have support staff that provide admin support services. Of the 56 DID employees stationed at Telemogorani, 14 are involved in maintenance projects, and they make up the inspectorate team. The response to question 2, which is what is the job description for the 56 employees that are responsible for DID functions? I have an attached list of the entire structure for Telemogorani, and Speaker, if I can request not to go through all 56 posts and positions, but it will be made available to Member Dikhamela. But safe to say that the summarized version of the job descriptions are the chief artisan, who managed all the aspects of design, production, and operation of the maintenance activities. We have artisans as well as a chief engineer who was with the committee on site, the construction safety officer who is responsible for planning and implementation and management of construction health and safety systems and on-site health and safety compliance in accordance with the OHS regulations. We have maintenance planners who prepare the plan maintenance work and monitor the rollout of scheduled and updated systems. We have control works inspector as well as works inspectors, boiler operators and boiler assistants, handymen who assist artisans with routine maintenance, repairs, and installation of equipment. We have administrative support staff, such as the administrative clerk, as well as the chief administrative clerk, the driver messenger, as well as messenger. And we also have, according to the attendance register, National Youth Service participants who are also stationed at Telemogorani, responsible for various services, including admin work. The response to question 3, how many projects are currently taking place in the hospital to keep the 56 members busy? The response is as follows. In the 2021-2022 financial year, there were 48 maintenance projects that were appointed for at the hospital. As at the 7th of March 2022, only 7 projects are still in progress. It is worth noting that not all DID employees at Telemogorani Hospital are involved in the projects. Others are offering day-to-day support, as indicated, admin, as well as other support services, as well as National Youth Service participants who are receiving on-site training in various categories. It is only the inspectorate team that is involved with the projects. Currently, the inspectorate team is finalizing the projects for 2021-2022 financial year and working on the specifications for projects that are planned for 2022-2023 financial year. The response to question 4 is as follows. The identified workstation of the 56 personnel in the hospital facility is separated as follows. There are 3 workshops, which is
2021-22 financial year as follows. The Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill provides the appropriation of adjusted amount of money from the Provincial Revenue Fund for the requirement of the province in respect to the financial year ending 31 March 2022, and to provide for the matters incidental thereto. The bill is endorsed by Section 31.1 of the Public Finance Management Act, which enjoins the MEC for Finance to table an adjustment budget in a provincial legislature. The bill is in line with Section 31.2A and G of the PFMA, which stipulates that an adjustment budget of the province may only provide for the following: A, an appropriation of funds that have become available to the province; B, unforeseeable and unavoidable expenditure recommended by the Provincial Executive Council of the province within the framework determined by the Minister; C, any expenditure in terms of Section 25; D, money to be appropriated by expenditure already announced by the MEC for finance during the tabling of the annual budget; E, the shifting of funds between and within votes or to follow the transfer of functions in terms of Section 42; F, the utilization of savings under the main division within votes for the defrayment of access expenditure under another main division within the same vote in terms of Section 43; and G, the rollover of unspent funds from the preceding financial year. It is against this legislative backdrop that the bill seeks to amend the Provincial Appropriation Act 2021, Act number 4 of 2021, to appropriate funds for various types of spending aimed at attaining the 4 provincial priorities, that is, winning the battle against COVID-19 pandemic, reigniting the Gauteng economy, recalibrating social policy to improve education, and for the health outcomes as well, and improving the governance across the Gauteng city region. In response to COVID-19 associated challenges of poverty, unemployment in the province, part of the additional provincial funding is made available to address the budget pressure emanating from 2021 public sector wage agreement and to fund the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. Moreover, the adjustment budget also includes the internal reprioritization of 2021-22 budget baselines by provincial departments to ease the emerging budget pressures and upscale priority areas such as social relief and economic recovery. On the adjustment to the 2021-22 financial year budget, the transfer from national has increased by 5 billion from 136.4 billion to 141.4 billion. On the other hand, the financing from the provincial revenue fund increases by 8.6 million from 6.9 billion to 6.980 billion, whilst 5 million increase in direct charges from the main appropriation of 81.1 million to the adjusted appropriation of 86.1 million is to cater for the gratuity payments made to exiting and the former members of the provincial legislature. On conditional grants, the changes to the conditional grants are due to rollovers of unspent funds from previous financial year. On health, additional amount of 11.5 million is allocated to HIV, AIDS, and TB community outreach grant for 2021-22 financial year. A rollover of 356.4 million is approved for the National Tertiary Service Grant. The statutory human resource training development grant is increased by 158.3 million. On social sector, EPWP incentive grant is increased by 259,000 for the Department of Health, resulting from a rollover for commitments for project management training. On educational grants, the National School Nutrition Program received an approved rollover of 10 million to fund commitments and to settle the outstanding invoices emanating from the previous financial year. A total amount of 1.4 million is rolled over for the learners with a profound intellectual disability grant to settle invoices relating to the procurement of learner and teacher support material. On social development, a conditional grant, early childhood development grant, received an additional amount of 103.4 million from the Presidential Employment Initiative, while the social sector EPWP incentive grant increased by 259,000 for the Department of Health, resulting from the rollover of the commitment from the project management training. That's a repetition, I think. On human settlement conditional grants, to cater for the payment of outstanding invoices and commitment, a rollover of 60.3 million is approved for human settlement development grant. Likewise, the title deeds restoration grant also received a rollover of 1.4 million to ensure that title deeds are issued upon handover of houses to the beneficiaries. On public transport conditional grant, a rollover amount of 94.5 million is approved for the transport operations grant to settle outstanding claims from bus operators for the prior financial year. On agriculture and rural development conditional grants, a comprehensive agriculture support program received an approved rollover to the tune of 1.8 million for the expenditure recovery program to cater for the commitments regarding procurement of laptops, screens, rugged devices, and the protection clothing for the agriculture extension officers. Arts, culture, and recreation conditional grants, a rollover of 1 million is approved for the community library service grant to perform construction work in Acacia Community Library. Member Macheka will be happy with that. While the budget for the mass participation and sports development grant increased by 808,000 due to rollover of funds to settle outstanding training invoices and to procure sporting equipment and attire. On recommendation, Speaker, the Portfolio Committee recommends the following: that the GPT should ensure the departments that received additional funds in the form of equitable share rollovers, provincial-owned funds, and conditional grants have expenditure plan in place to circumvent the surrender of funds earmarked for the service delivery. That the GPT should ensure that the funds earmarked for the reigniting the economy are utilized prudently to ensure value for money. And lastly, that the GPT should ensure that the funds earmarked to address challenges of poverty and unemployment in the province exacerbated by COVID-19 pandemic are used for their intended purposes. On acknowledgements, the Portfolio Committee would like to thank the Honorable MEC Nomantunko Morale-Hoko, the Head of Department, Ms. N. Mnyani, and the officials of the Gauteng Provincial Treasurer. Thanks and appreciation to all members of the Finance Portfolio Committee, Honorable Malema, Honorable Paladi Hamela, Honorable Macheke, Honorable Masuku, Honorable Randall, Honorable Atkinson, and Honorable Mukwebo. The committee's gratitude is extended to the following support staff: a group coordinator, Mr. T. Budibe, senior committee coordinator, Mr. Jane Zani, and Ms. M. Mojapilu. Researchers, Mr. M. Tsetla and Ms. L. Chilwani, Legal Advisor, Ms. L. Modau, Senior Information Officer, Mr. W. Nzibande, Media Officer, Mr. Dikola, Committee Administrator.
I
Ms.
now move for.
Oh, thank you, Speaker. It's cut. After due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the report on the first Provincial Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 in terms of Rule 1172C, read with Rule 164. The Finance Portfolio Committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's report on the first Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill for 2021-22 financial year. You can just name Speaker.
Any seconder to the report?
I second, Speaker. Honorable Malema.
Honorable Malema seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. Yes. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Oversight Committee on the Office of the Premier and the Legislature Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 1, Office of the Premier for the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Dlamini.
Another section that deals with the rules, rulings, and the like. So we'll get percent each.
Honorable Dlamini.
I'm here, Honorable Speaker. I'm somebody who's speaking. I'm not.
So I'm missing.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive, and Honorable members of the Legislature and Gauteng citizens. I would ask that the parts of the report be taken as read. I'll just go to the Executive summary. This Oversight Report provides the Committee assessment of the Office of the Premier's Adjustment Appropriation for 2021-22 financial year in relation to the reprioritization of the main appropriation vote 1. The Office of the Premier's 2021-22 financial year adjustment budget reflects the redirection of resources to respond, amongst others, to unforeseeable conditions brought about by natural disasters such as the COVID-19 pandemic, the unavoidable crisis of the life asset demand strategy, and other emerging priorities emanating from the national and provincial government to boost economic growth and development. In addressing the unforeseeable conditions in the rapidly changing economic conditions, modification of the allocated budget became the alternative option for the Office of the Premier in prioritizing pressing matters that cannot be deferred. The Office of the Premier's total appropriation for the 2021-2022 financial year amounted to 714 million for the implementation of delivery programs. However, during the budget adjustment period in October 2021, an upward revision of 152.6 million was allocated to the Office of the Premier, resulting to a total budget of 876 million. In terms of program allocation, during the 2021-22 budget appropriation, Program 1 administration received the least budget of 136.9 million due to a life asset demand project payout that was expected to come to an end in the financial year. However, in the third quarter of the 2021-2022 financial year, the Office of the Premier received and processed the life asset demand claims that led to overspending in this program. During the adjustment period, Program 1 administration received additional 162.2 million, which increased the allocation of 136.9 to 299 million. This adjustment budget was to cover the payment of new claims for life asset demand which were not anticipated in the third quarter of the 2021-2022 financial year. The budget for Program 2 Institutional Development was readjusted and reduced from 257 million to 2.2 million during the adjustment period. Similarly, the budget for Program 3 Police and Governance was readjusted and reduced by 7.3 million from its initial budget allocation of 319.9 million to 312.6 million. The amounts from Program 2 and Program 3 were repurposed for COVID-19 related matters.
The committee notes that the overall budget of the Office of the Premier for 2021-22 financial year has increased to cater for the payments of life asset remaining claims in Program 1 administration, where half of the 162 million was allocated to payments for life asset remaining settlement. It is further noted that the effects of COVID-19 pandemic was the primary cause of budget adjustments. Furthermore, the allocated funds that were not spent in Program 2 institutional program and Program 3 policy government were repurposed to address COVID-19 related issues. The committee is concerned about the Office of the Premier's different perspective in reporting, where it was stated in the previous quarter that the lease agreement for the command center was scheduled to be kept for 6 additional months from April 2021. However, during the 2021-20 financial year budget adjustment period, funds have been redirected to address COVID-19 related work. That includes, among others, securing and cleaning the command center. The committee is concerned about planned programs and projects that were cancelled due to COVID-19 and the delays in the implementation of skills development of military veterans, which led to the redirection of funds to COVID-19 related matters. Recommendation based on the information set out herein above and well as the committee is concerned, the committee therefore recommends as follows. Recommend that the Premier should provide progress update on the extension of the lease agreement for the command center as it was scheduled for 6 additional months from April 2021. 2, the Premier should provide a report on the planned programs and projects that were cancelled due to COVID-19, including the impact on service delivery as a result of this cancellation. Furthermore, a progress update should be provided on the skills development for the veterans. The committee hereby thanks and acknowledges the cooperation of the Office of the Premier and the role played by the Premier, the Honourable D.M. Makura, the Acting Director General, Mr. Tima Seb, and the team of senior officials. I wish to thank honourable members of OCPOL and also thank honourable members of senior support staff. After due deliberation, the Oversight Committee on the Premier's Office and the Legislature adopted the report unanimously in accordance with Rule 164. The committee presents the report.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second the report, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Malema seconding. I now put a question. All those in favour. Oh, Honourable Msimang. Okay, thank you. Honourable Msimang seconding. I now put a question. All those in favour say yes. All those not in favour say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can you have the next order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Oversight Committee on the Office of the Premier and the Legislature's Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote 2 of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honourable Dlamini.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And I'd also like to go to the executive summary and all other parts of the report be taken as read. The adjustment process provides an opportunity to make permissible revisions to the budget in response to changes that have affected the planned government spending for the year. The committee noted that the budget allocation of the GPL remains unchanged at 791.1 million as appropriated at the beginning of the 2022 financial year. This allocation showed a decrease of 26.7 million, 3% from an adjusted amount of 817.8 million that was allocated to it during the 2020-2021 financial year. There were no findings, recommendations identified during this process. I would also like to thank the following members of the committee: Honourable Khumalo, Honourable Hassan, Honourable Ngube, Honourable Makubela, Honourable Msimang, Honourable Bloom, Honourable Mukwebo, Honourable Mabala, Honourable Adams, Honourable Alberts, during the deliberations of the Gauteng Provincial Appropriation Adjustment Bid for the 2020 financial year. The committee would also like to thank the committee coordinator, Ms. Vass, senior researcher, N. Dlamini, committee coordinator, N. Mutisi, Nokhato, Omohone, Mdagane, Nechivuo, Tole, Soni, Singh, Katisi, and Simelane. For the commitment they have shown during this process. After due deliberation, the Oversight Committee on the Premier's Office of the Legislature adopted the report unanimously. In accordance with Rule 164, the committee present the report for consideration and adoption by the House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second Member Msimanga.
Honorable Msimang is seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the details of the budget vote of Gauteng Economic Development on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Kanyane.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And the Premier, the Leader of Government Business, the Chief Whip in absentia, honourable members, as the Acting Chairperson of Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture and Rural Portfolio Committee, I present the report of the Rauting Department of Economic Development, Vote 3 of the Rauting Provincial Appropriation Bill, that is 2021/2022 financial year. As the committee, we noted the total appropriation that shows an increase of 1.5 billion, that is from the main appropriation, which is adjusted amount of 1.7 billion. So this amounts to an increase of 221 million, which constitute the 14.1%. Now, the additional funding or increase received from the Provincial Treasury is allocated to fund the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone and the Rauting Enterprise Propeller. Now, the committee explores that infrastructure projects and the support of the SMMEs is crucial, noting the impacts of the hard lockdown during the peak of COVID-19. So 3 programs here, they received upward adjustment, and that is the Integrated Economic Development Services, which is housed by the Rauting Enterprise Propeller, Business Regulations, and Economic Planning. So the committee noted that the economic planning increased by 184 million and followed by the Rauting Enterprise Propeller and Business Regulation, with an increase of 89.4 million and 17.7 million respectively. So the committee was informed by the department that 114 million has been channeled to TASES for infrastructure building and operation cost. In light of this, the committee is concerned that the department has not reported on TASES in its in-year reporting. So reports related to this economic zone are crucial, noting that the public funds are utilized to fund this project. And again, the committee further noted that Rauting Enterprise Propeller has received an increased allocation during the adjusted period, and of that, the 86 million was for additional funding for contract financing to support SMMEs. So the committee welcomes the increase, however, raised skepticism on the entity's ability to spend the allocation, noting failures by the entity to do so during the previous adjusted budget, wherein the COVID relief fund remains unutilized to date, with a myriad of reasons provided, such as seeking partners to leverage of the fund. So the view of the committee is that funds allocated to the entity should be utilized for the intended purposes, and that it is to support the SMMEs. In addition to this, the department should outline planned timelines for the entire contract financing processes to be effected, as well as communication channels to ensure that all SMMEs receive feedback timely on this project. Now, the committee raised concern on the entity receiving an amount of 2 million for the implementation of the Rauting Enterprise Propeller reconfiguration processes, as this process has been continuously reported on by the department from the start of the sixth administration to date, with no conclusions and adequate accountability. Now, the committee also noted the 17 million increase under the business regulation and governance, which remains unexplained in detail by the department. So the view of the committee is that the department should indicate the programs that will be implemented through the increased amount. And again, the committee noted the downward adjustment in administration and trade and sector development, which is 24 million and 46 million respectively. So the downward adjustment under administration is mainly made up for a decrease in the compensation of employees with the aim to reprioritize the funds due to delays in filling the SMS vacancies. But with a decrease of funds under the compensation of employees, the view of the committee is that the department intends not to fill vacant positions within the remainder of the financial year, which is of concern, as it has been always, as to fill all vacant positions in the department, including entities. Now, the Rauting Growth Development Agency had its allocation adjusted downwards from an amount of 632 million to 589 million, thus translating into 42.9 million decline. So this is concerning, as the department has been struggling with the implementation of infrastructure projects, such as the Biopark Phase 3 at the Innovation Hub and the Vista Center at Constitutional Hill, amongst others. And no tangible rationale was provided by the department. Now, coming to the concerns, the committee has two main ones. One, the committee is concerned about the lack of reporting by the department of the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. Two, the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller's continuous inability to spend allocations geared towards the support of the SMMEs in case of, for an example, the 86 million allocated during the adjusted period. Now we are recommending, and all the recommendations should be responded to by the 29th of April, 2022. The committee recommends that the department should, on quarterly basis, account and give detailed reports on the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. The report should give highlights of all financials related to the projects from inception date, governance structure, including the operations within the facility. Again, the department should give an account of 86 million allocated to Gauteng Enterprise Propeller during the adjusted period in support of the contract financing for SMMEs. So the details amount around this should be around the time frame set for dispersing these funds, the recipients of these funds, the entire contract financing processes that is geared for achievements. So we're looking at this, that we get all these responses by the 29th April 2022. Now, under acknowledgement, appreciation should go also to the MEC and also his supporting staff, and then also our gratitude should go to the honorable members, that is Honorable Makubela, Honorable Mngube, Honorable Ghana, Honorable Selirs, Honorable Chitanganyo, Honorable Nkosi Malobani, Honorable Bedenhorst. Again, we also sent our gratitude to Honorable Alberts and Honorable Engelbrecht, whom I've not seen since I acted in this position. Now, under adoption, after due consideration, the Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the report on the Gauteng Provincial Appropriation Adjustment Bill 2021 on the Gauteng Department of Economic development for the 2021/22 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read together with Rules 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight report on the Gauteng Department of Economic Development Provincial Appropriation Bill for Budget Vote 3 for the 2021-22 financial year. I move for that adoption, Speaker.
Any seconder to the report?
Madam Speaker, I rise to second just to say that Honorable Engelbrecht is now a member of Parliament and needs to be removed from that list. Thank you very much, Madam
It's
Speaker.
not of part of what we are discussing.
Honorable Speaker.
It has been seconded. The report has been seconded.
My name is omitted there on that committee.
I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no.
Yes.
The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can you have the next order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Health Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the details of the budget for the on the details of the budget for Vote 4, Department of Health, on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Dr. Dikhamela Paladi, or Dr. Paladi Dikhamela.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Portfolio Committee on Health presents its oversight report on the Adjusted Appropriation Bill on the Gauteng Department of Health for 2021-2022 financial year. The department's total appropriation increased from 56 billion to 59 billion during the adjustment budget process, making the total appropriation to be increased by 3 billion. The committee noticed the major assumptions, including the amended budget, as it is responding to COVID-19 pandemic, whereby staff were employed, including those who helped with COVID-19 immunization campaign, those who are also working in wards and in high care units and health care related responsibilities. The overall budget funding for the National Conditional Grant has been increased from 955 million to 5 billion to fund the mental and oncology care. The funds were transferred from the National Health Insurance Indirect Grant to the mental health component. The committee welcomes the 4 billion allocated for the provision of primary health care services towards community health workers in order to purchase uniform. According to the revised budget, a total of 555 million has been adjusted and dedicated to pay the Human Resource Response Plan as part of the overall health response plan to COVID-19. The statutory Human Resource Training and Development Conditional Grant was awarded 113 million for the employment of health professionals, including 74 million for the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative to appoint health personnel. And the mental health services component has been granted 7 million for the employment of more mental health specialists in the department. The committee notes the gap identified for the fire event infrastructure project at the Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Academic Hospital, hence the allocation of 21 million, even though the matter has since been escalated to be administered by the national government. On Program 6, Honorable Speaker, the program's budget was increased by the from 1 billion to 1.2 billion to 1.2 billion. Transfers to the departmental agencies and accounts received previously 24.6 billion with a 16 million that is being transferred to higher education institutions. On Program 6, 8, The initial allocation for this financial year was 2.2 billion, which has been increased to 2.4 billion. The Extended Public Works Program Integrated Grant was reported at 2.2, while the health facility revitalization was recorded at 965 million. Committee findings, Honorable Speaker. The committee is concerned with the increasing and insufficient reporting on the litigation bill. The increase in the accruals and inadequate reporting thereof is also a concern. The non-reporting on Anglo-Ashanti Hospital remains a concern. The non-payment of service providers within 30 days remains a concern. The reported shortages of bread at Chris Hani Baragwanath hospitals and other hospitals remains a concern to the committee. Committee recommendations, Honorable Speaker. The department should provide detailed reports by the 31st of March 2022 on the following: a strategy for addressing the litigations, as well as an improved reporting method to the committee on a quarterly basis, a strategy for decreasing the amount of accruals, as well as an improved reporting method to the committee on a quarterly basis, inclusion of Anglo-Ashanti Hospital on the committee's quarterly reporting, a strategy to improve on paying service providers within the 30 days timeline, steps that have been put in place to guarantee that the shortage of bread will not happen again at various hospitals, including Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. On acknowledgements, Honorable Speaker, the chairperson wishes to thank the COO, Mr. Lisiba Malotana, and the CFO, Ms. Lerato Majo, for the preparation of the adjusted budget vote for presentation and the efforts made in taking the committee through the details of the report and responding to questions raised by the members. Highly appreciated is the role of the committee members of the Health Portfolio Committee for their dedication and commitment to the report. These are Member Masuku, Member Mabunda, Member Litsie Mohale, Member Mabala, Member Bloom, and Member Fuchs. Of course, we didn't see Member Alberts as usual. I would like to acknowledge the support staff led by Panchwam Balo, Ninweli, Nkidi, Mukonoto, August, Msomi, Ngobo, Sibande, Mukoka, as well as Makwela. On adoption, in accordance with Rule 168, the committee hereby recommends that the House adopt the Health Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the adjusted Department of Health Budget Vote 4 report for 2021-2022 financial year, taking into considerations the concerns as proposed and recommended in this report. Let me also request that parts of the report that I couldn't read be considered as read. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
Speaker,
any seconder to the report?
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, I would just like to point out that I'm an alternative member to this committee. I'm not a full member.
We are not allowed to speak. Honorable Alberts.
Is unacceptable.
Honorable Alberts, you have not been allowed to speak, please.
Hardly ever attend anything anyway.
3 years, he never came once.
Honorable members, can you get a seconder to the report?
That is also not true.
I second, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mabunda seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Education Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 5, Department of Education, on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Chilwane.
Thank you, Speaker. Can the areas that I will not be able to read be considered as read? The 2021-2022 financial year budget shows that the department has received funds from both national and provincial revenue funds in the form of equitable shares and conditional grants, totaling 53.4 billion. The allocation has been adjusted to 56.6 billion. The allocation shows an increase of 3.2 billion. These funds are comprised of 2.4 billion from national, of which 1.3 billion is for the shortfalls to address compensation of employees resulting from the implementation of the 2021-22 public sector wage agreement. 1 billion is intended for the implementation of the Presidential Youth Initiative. The department further received 378 million from the province to cover the procurement of personal protective equipment. The adjustment also includes the appropriation of rollovers of unspent funds. The conditional grant rollover of 11.3 million, which comprises of 10 million for the National School Nutrition Program grant and 1.3 billion goes towards the learners with profound intellectual disabilities grant. The equitable share rollover is to settle commitments from the previous financial year, totaling 461 million, and is allocated as follows: 60.7 million for school furniture, 289.5 million for the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative, 2.5 million for bursaries awarded to schools and office-based staff, 35 million for LTSM, 73.3 million for National School Nutrition Program. With regards to environments and shifts, a total of 90 million is released to address budget pressures of Program 7, examination education-related services due to the ongoing strengthening of school safety intervention. The department reports that this is intended to turn around high-risk schools and provide a conducive learning and working environment. The committee is of the view that the 2021-22 financial year adjusted budget of the department is in response to tight economic conditions and appears to respond to key priority areas of the department across the programs and some of the sub-programs. The budget of 56.6 billion will assist the department to achieve the planned targets, particularly in priority programs such as POSE and ECD, as well as responding to challenges posed by the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the sector. The committee urges the department to ensure that the total allocation is effectively utilized by the end of the financial year, noting that an under expenditure of just 2% translates to 1 billion rand. Committee consent and proposed recommendation. The committee is concerned that the department may not utilize the entire allocation of 56.6 billion by the end of the financial year, noting that the adjusted process began approximately 20 days before the end of the financial year. The committee observed that the department's bursary funds are allocated through agencies such as the GCRA and not provided with the necessary support to reach its optimal level of reaching the appropriate stakeholders, such as the youth and those who are from disadvantaged background. The recommendation: the committee urges the department to ensure that total allocation is effectively used by the end of the financial year. A report thus is expected by the 29th of April 2022. The committee recommends that the department should ensure agencies such as the GCRA are capacitated to optimal level, especially in relation to youth and the disadvantaged. A report thus is expected by the 29th of April 2022. In acknowledgement, the committee wishes to thank the MEC of Education, Honorable Sufi, and his senior official for the presentation of the detail of Vote 5 of the Provincial Adjusted Appropriation Bill and the substantial and sustained efforts they have made to inform the Portfolio Committee of the details of the adjustments. Furthermore, the Chair would like to thank the honorable members, the following honorable members: Honorable Hassan, Honorable Makubela, Honorable Mpisi, Honorable Ramulifi, Honorable Mukwebo, Honorable De Santos, Honorable Deval Alberts, Honorable Adams for their dedication and support during this process. The Portfolio Committee would also like to thank the support team as led by the Group Committee Coordinator, Ms. Zuzu Mpanzwambala, and the Senior Committee Coordinator, Ms. Sharin Gaya. In accordance to Rule 117, 2C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Education hereby presents its Committee Oversight Report on the detail of Vote 5, the Gauteng Department of Education of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill to the House for adoption and taking into account concerns and proposed recommendation made in the report.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Adams.
Honorable Adams seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Social Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 6 of the Social Development on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Kekana.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to the Premier, members of the Executive Council, and fellow honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I would like you to take, I would like the House to take other parts that I'm not going to read as read. I, Rufilo Kekana, Chairperson of the Social Development Portfolio Committee, hereby tables the Committee Oversight Report on the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill for the year 2021-2022 financial year for the Gauteng Department of Social Development as follows. On the executive summary, Madam Speaker, this report seeks to provide details on the Department of Social Development's Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2021 that was tabled on the 2nd of March 2022. The Department of Social Development received a total allocation of 5,882,786,000 during the year under review, and it was adjusted upwards by an amount of 265,771,000. The committee acknowledged that on Program 1, which is administration, there has been an adjustment from 741,231,000 to 742,701,000, with an increase of 1.47 million. And on Program 2, which is social welfare services, there has been an adjustment from 989,427,000 to 1.004 million, which is a total increase of 15,105,000. On Program 3, which is the children and families, there has been an adjustment from 2,618,697,000 to 2,738,596,000, with an increase of 119,899,000. And on Program 4, which is restorative services, there has been an adjustment from 783,841,000 to 794,644,000, with a total increase of 10,803,000. And on Program 5, which is development and research, there's been an adjustment from 749,590,000 to 868,084,000, which is an increase of 265,771,000. The committee further acknowledged that the bulk of the adjustments is located within Program 3, followed by Program 5. And out of this adjusted budget, an amount of 139 million has been allocated to NPOs, with 86 million of this amount located under Program 3. And on the overall allocation adjustment, just to summarize the figures that I've mentioned before, the Gauteng Department of Social Development received an allocation of 5,882,786,000 during the year under review, and it was adjusted upwards by an amount of 265,771,000. The department's budget after the adjustment amounts to 6,148,557,000. On committee concerns, the committee's concern relates to the significant increase of budget on Program 3. While the department is unable to execute some of its outputs on the same program. However, During the engagement on the adjustment budget, the department provided the committee with a detailed plan that will focus on the issues related to underperformance on Program 3 and how the department plans to adjust and make plans that will impact positively on service delivery. The committee will closely monitor the implementation of these plans, and it will make sure that they are properly executed. The committee is further concerned that the department's budget on conditional grants has been adjusted upwards by an additional 25,623,000, while the department has failed to spend the 77,763,000 of the Presidential ECD Stimulus Relief Fund. On proposed recommendations, the department should speed up the recruitment process of appointing officials who will manage the ECD Presidential Stimulus Relief Fund and further engage with the National Department on payment rejections that are related to the grant. The department should provide the progress report by the 29th of April 2022. And on acknowledgements, the committee would like to thank the MEC for Social Development and the head of department, as well as the officials in the department. I would also like to express my appreciation to all the members that serves in this committee, including the support staff, for their dedication in assisting the committee to achieve its mandate. And on adoption, in terms of Rule 117, Section 2, Subsection C, read with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Social Development presents the Oversight Report on the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2021 for the Department of Social Development 2021-22 financial year for adoption, taking into consideration the proposed recommendations made in this report. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second the report, Speaker.
Seconder. Thank you very much. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say
Yes.
no. The yeas have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs and Human Settlement Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of budget vote number 7 of the Department of Cooperative Governance on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Diale Tlabela.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to honorable members and the people of Gauteng. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of men and women who serve under the Portfolio Committee of Culture and Human Settlement in the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, I, Kidiboni Diale Tlabela, hereby table the Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the second Provincial Appropriation Bill for the Gauteng Department of Culture as follows. And maybe perhaps before one continues, Madam Speaker, I request the House to allow me to not read the whole report, but consider parts not read as read. This report seeks to provide clarity on what the Department of Culture second Provincial Adjusted Appropriation Bill entails. The Portfolio Committee noted that budget is adjusted upwards during the 2021-2022 financial year from 581 million to 592 million, and increased by an amount of 10.3 million due to rollover received for the settlement of projects that started during the previous financial year. This includes projects such as the deployment of administrators to Mfuleni local municipality, probity auditors for open tender processes, and the provision of the Gauteng Spatial Development Framework Review, Gauteng City Region Planning House, Influence Capital Expenditure Framework, and support to municipalities, IDPs, including the municipal digitalization of valuation role project. Furthermore, the department reprioritized funds from slow spending items towards the areas with budget pressures for the provision of Gauteng Integrated Provincial Disaster Management Center data communication, as most of the employees are working remotely. The household's budget is increased by 1.3 million to cover leave gratuity payments to officials who exited the public sector. As a committee, we remain concerned that the conditional grants transferred to municipalities did not occur. In this regard, budget adjustments should enhance the municipal performance in line with the back-to-back basics, and the department should provide responses to the portfolio committee by the 29th April 2022. We noted the reasons reported by the Department of Culture in Gauteng on the adjustment budget report for 2021-2022 as presented in our meeting of the 4th of March 2022, and we will therefore observe and assess budget expenditure when considering the annual performance report. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the budget adjustment should reflect the department's commitment of enhancing municipal performance in line with the back to basics pillars. I will not mention them. And on behalf of Honorable Pinky Ngube, Honorable Paul Malema, Honorable Greg Schneeman, Honorable Sirota, Honorable Solim Simang, Honorable Dlamini, Honorable Khomototong, Honorable Malesela Ledwaba, Honorable Dalton Adams, Honorable Dilange, I would like to thank the MEC of COCTA, Honorable Lebogang Maile, and the acting head of department, Ms. Itumele Mokati, and their team. And furthermore, also we wish to express our appreciation for the contribution made by the GPL support staff listed on the report. In terms of Rule 117-2C, read with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on COCT and Human Settlement present the Oversight Report on the Second Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill of the Department of COCTA for 2021-2022 financial year for adoption, taking into account the proposed recommendations made in this report. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report?
I second.
Honorable Ramlifo.
Member Msimang.
Member Malema seconds.
Oh, okay.
We're dealing with order number 8. Okay, Honorable Diale. No, Honorable Diale, you don't do that. You don't do that. What Honorable Ramlifo was saying was that you read the wrong report. So what we need to do is to ascertain whether you read the right report or not. Just check the report that you just read and compare with order number 8. Yeah. Okay. Honorable Diale, did you read the committee oversight report on the detailed of vote 7? Is that what you read? Okay. So I'm also advised by the team that she read the correct report. So can we therefore get a seconder? Any seconder to the report?
Madam Speaker. Honorable Malema, second, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Malema seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no.
Yes.
The yes of it. The report is adopted by the House. Can you have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Cooperative Governance, Traditional Affairs and Human Settlement Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote, Department of Human Settlement on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Diale Tabela.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I still, on behalf of members that serves under the Portfolio Committee of Culture and Human Settlement, hereby present the Oversight Report on the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill for Vote 8 for the year 2021-2022 of the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement. Madam Speaker, I'm going to request the House to allow me not to read the whole report and consider the parts that I'm not going to read as read, including Member Ramuli for the report seeks to provide clarity on the Gauteng Department of Human Settlement Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill for 2021-2022 that was tabled in our meeting of the 2nd March 2022. The Gauteng Department of Human Settlement as of the 31st December 2021, which is end of Q3, total expenditure for the department amounted to 3.4 billion, which is 57% of the total budget of 5.9 billion, which has been increased by 73 million of approved rollovers. It is worth noting that even though there are targets that have decreased, the budget of the department still increased. The Portfolio Committee noted with concern that the department has not been spending its budget as per the PFMA guidelines, with only 57% spent at the end of Q3 as opposed to the 75% expenditure. It is not clear whether there was a necessity for the 73 million additional funding. The Portfolio Committee noted that the department also adjusted its annual performance plan in the quarter under review. There are new performance indicators. This is a cause for concern as these are introduced later in the financial year and more likely to be not achieved. Some of the performance indicators have been decreased while others have been increased. With the increased targets, it is not clear how the department will ensure that going forward they will achieve this target as they've been struggling to achieve them in the past. The budget of the department has also increased. This is regardless of the department not spending its total budget. Madam Speaker, I request the House to allow me to just go to item 5 of this report on committee concerns. The Portfolio Committee noted an increase of 73 million from the Provincial Treasury rollover, lack of reporting on how much has been allocated to the new indicators. The Portfolio Committee also noted the increase of 61.7 million approved rollover of funds on infrastructure. On proposed recommendation, the department should provide responses to the Portfolio Committee by the 29th April 2022, and that the department should ensure funds are spent entirely with proper planning to avoid rollovers. The department should indicate how much has been allocated to the new indicators, ensure that the amount allocated to infrastructure is spent to avoid money sent back to Treasury before end of financial year. On behalf of Member Pinky Ngube, Honorable Paul Malema, Honorable Greg Schneeman, Mr. Sirota, Mr. Solim Sima, Honorable Kamini, Honorable Khomoso Tong, Honorable Lidwaba and Honorable Adams, as well as Honorable Jilange. I hereby wishes to thank the MEC for Gauteng Human Settlements in Gauteng, Honorable Lebogang Maile, and the head of the department, Ms. Mbanjwa, and the team. Furthermore, we also like to express our appreciation to the Gauteng Provincial Legislature support staff that supports us as a committee. Madam Speaker, in terms of Rule 1172C, read with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Gauteng Human Settlement presents the Oversight Report on the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill for the Department of Human Settlement for the financial year 2021-2022 for adoption, taking into account the proposed recommendations made in this report. Thank you very much.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second. And Chairperson, stop doing that. Just say this is the right report and leave it at that. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Report is seconded.
Teacher Ramulifu to read.
I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Thank you. Honorable Ramulifu, you are disturbing the House because it has been confirmed she read the right report. If you have that one, it's not what she read. Honorable Ramulifu, you can be sent a report, but what was read in the meeting, was that read? No, but the proceedings are confirming that the report that was read is the correct one. Honourable members, in terms of the details of the report report on the detail of vote 8, I now put a question. All those in favour say yes. Yes. All not in favour say no.
Yes. Yes.
The yes have it. The report is adopted. Can you have the next order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Roads and Transport Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 9 of the Department of Roads and Transport on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honourable Schneemann.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'd like to request firstly that the parts of the report not read be taken as read, and I also wish to table the committee's report on budget vote on vote 9 of the appropriation bill for 2021 for the financial year. In the 2021-22 financial adjustment budget process, the committee noted that the budget allocated to the department was adjusted downwards by 112 million, or 1.3%. The committee noted that the budget allocated for the administration, transport infrastructure and transport regulation programs was reduced, while the budget allocated for the transport operations and Gautrain programs was increased to cater for the cadet taxi program and shortfall on the patronage guarantee costs, respectively. On the transport infrastructure program, the committee noted that a number of planned targets on infrastructure projects had been revised down, and this is an indication that there were infrastructure projects that did not reach planning and implementation targets as at the end of the second quarter for the 2021-2022 financial year. On transport operations, the committee noted that the department continued to reprioritise funds from other programs to cater for the taxi cadet and military veterans program that was introduced during the lockdown period with the aid of the Gauteng taxi industry. Furthermore, the committee noted that the program received additional funding in the form of a rollover from the National Department of Transport amounting to 94 million rand for the payment of outstanding claims by bus operators for the month of March 2021, which had to be catered for utilising the 21-22 financial year budget allocations. With regards to the Gautrain Management Agency, the committee noted that the budget allocation for the agency was adjusted upwards by an amount of 366 million rand. The committee noted that the increase was to assist with the patronage guarantee cost, that became due and had to be settled to ensure that the GMA was not contravening the contractual obligations of the concession agreement. The committee noted that the significant budget cuts in the transport infrastructure program, due to the department not meeting planning and implementation targets, may continue to pose a greater threat on the implementation of infrastructure projects. The committee will continue to emphasise the need to strengthen the capacitation and functionality of the Transport Infrastructure House to ensure planning and implementation targets are achieved as envisaged. I would like to now move to the committee concerns and recommendations. On the committee concerns, the committee is concerned about the following. 1. The reprioritisation of funds from administration, transport infrastructure and regulation programs to transport operations for the cadet and military veterans program. 2. The decrease in the budget of the transport infrastructure program, which is an indication that there were infrastructure projects that did not reach planning and implementation targets as at the end of the second quarter of the 2021-22 financial year. And 3, the increase in the patronage guarantee cost, as well as the reprioritisation of funds from other programs to cater for the increasing patronage guarantee cost. On the issue of recommendations, the committee recommends that the department should provide a detailed report by 29 April on the following. 1. On the scope, beneficiaries, financial and non-financial implications of the cadet and military veterans program. The report should also provide a progress report on the payment of affected beneficiaries in this program. 2. On the state of readiness of planning and implementation of targets for the infrastructure projects which were affected during the Adjustment Appropriation Bill for 2021-2022. 3. On the implementation plan to reduce the patronage guarantee costs over the MTF and progress thereof. The detailed report should also include the possible alternative sources of funding for the increasing patronage guarantee costs over the MTF period until the handover of the system, except the reprioritisation of funds from other programs and request for additional funds from Provincial Treasury. And 4, on the possible negative impact to the agency in case the Gauteng Management Agency contravenes the contractual obligations of the concession agreement in relation to the payment of patronage guarantee costs. The committee's gratitude also goes to the MEC Mamabolo, the HOD and his team for their cooperation and assistance during this process. I would also like to express my appreciation to the honourable members in the committee, Honourable Members Kikana, Member Lidwaba, Member Matbunda, Member Ndlovana, Member Nell, Member Duplessis, Member Malisela Dwaba and Member Khadebe for their deliberations and commitment during the Adjustment Appropriation Bill process. We would also want to express our appreciation to the committee section for their work and assistance during the process. In terms of Rule 117 2C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Roads and Transport recommends that the report on Adjustment Budget Vote 9 of the Appropriation Bill for 2021-2022 be adopted, taking into account the concerns and recommendations tabled in this report. I thank you.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report? Any seconder to the report?
Honourable Malema, I second, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Report seconded. I now put a question. All those in favour say yes. Yes. All those not in favour say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can I request the table assistants just to check the report that was read? Can you check that?
Old man, you must be bored here. We're not bored like you. Joshua, though, we're not bored here. Want to finish? Want to finish here? If you don't want to be home, allow us to go home. Conclude the business of this. We are lazy.
Okay.
That's the mentality your forebearers
Honorable.
are used to. That is the mentality and attitude that your forebearers were accustomed to. You are exposing yourself here. Racist.
Honorable members. Whoa. Whoa. Honorable members. I don't know why. Man. Honorable members. Honorable Litsualo, please. Honorable members, please. Honorable members, can you bear with me? Last year, there was an appropriation bill that was passed by this House, of which it went to committees. And committees have considered that appropriation bill. Hence, they are bringing in reports. Don't confuse the two, please. Can you go to the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Order number 11, Community Safety Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 10, which is the Department of Community Safety on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
And 2021 to 2022 ends on the 31st of March. What we are referring to is 2022-2023. That is still going to come. Please, honorable members. Can I therefore call upon Honorable Ndlovana to present the report?
Leader. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Ereke thome pele ka ho dumedisha lekgotla le badudi ba Gauteng ka bophara ke re kgotsong. Honorable Speaker, take the areas which I'm not going to read as read. The Chairperson of the Community Safety Portfolio Committee, Honorable Alfina Ndlovana, tables the committee report on the assessment of the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill of the Department of Community Safety for the 2021-22 financial year as follows. This report provides a summary of the committee assessment of the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill of the Department of Community Safety for the 2021-22 financial year. At the beginning of the 2021-22 financial year, the department received 962.3 million. Post to the budget adjustment period, the overall allocation increased to 981 million. This indicates an increase of 18.7 million. The committee had noted the report by the department that the 18.7 million was not an additional allocation received from the provincial fiscus, but resulted from funds which were rolled over from its 2020-21 allocation and monies recovered from other organs of the state which were owed to the department. Of the 3 programs in the department, only 2 received additional funds, whilst in some programs funds were reprioritized and reallocated to activities which needed additional resources. An additional allocation of 10.4 million from funds which were rolled over from the 2020-21 financial year was allocated to Program 2, payment for the previous financial year accruals. A further 8.2 million of the funds, which were recovered from the organs of the state, was allocated to Program 3 to enhance traffic management and road safety intervention. Honorable Speaker, I'll move to committee observation and recommendation and acknowledgement. On committee concern and observation, the committee made the following observation and concerns. 1, the committee is concerned that a substantial amount of the department allocation is expended on G-Fleet lease. 2, the committee noted the recovery of 8.2 million which was owed to the department by other organs of state. Proposed committee recommendation. The committee made the recommendation as follows, Madam Speaker. The department must provide a detailed report on its expenditure related to G-Fleet. 2, the department must provide a report on how it intends to utilize the 8.2 million which was recovered from the other organs of the state. The committee requested to receive the report on the above recommendation by the 29th of April 2022. On acknowledgement, I, Honorable Alfina Ndlovana, the chairperson of the Community Safety Portfolio, thanks the MEC of Community Safety, Honorable Faith Mazibuko, HOD, Ms. Nonzikelele Sisulu, and their management team for their cooperation during the consideration of the 2021 Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill of the Department of Community Safety. I further acknowledge and express my gratitude to members of the committee for their cooperation and diligence in the assessment of this report, namely Honorable Mhlagaza Manamela, Honorable Nkosi Malobane, Honorable Kanyile, Honorable Shackleton, Honorable Bosch, Honorable Hoffman, and Honorable Khadebe. My appreciation is extended to the following support staff to the legislature: Group Community Coordinator Zoziwe Panso Mbalo, Senior Researcher Sakine Nenweli, Committee Researcher Pabalo Malise Banda, Committee Coordinator Tabile Malumani, Administrator Tabise Mufukeng, Hansat Recorder Sylvester Baloy, Service Officer Fezege Roy, Communication Officer Tebe Kumalo, Information Officer Azindwini Nichivuyo, for their dedication and commitment in ensuring the achievement of this report. In accordance with Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, I, Chairperson Alfina Ndlovana, recommend that the Committee Oversight Report on the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill of the Department of Community Safety for the 2021-22 financial year be adopted by the House, taking into consideration the concern and proposed recommendation made in this report. I thank you.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second.
Honorable Kanyana seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no.
Yes.
The yes have it. Honorable members, I just want to remind you that remember the reports that are considered are those that are read. Anything circulated and not read is not considered. So the confusion is on the reports, there's a second that is included there, but the contents is not the second, is the first. And members, when we say 2021, 2022, it's not what you think it is, Honorable. That's why when you are in a meeting, please, even listening, it's also important. Thank you very much. Can you go to the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 11, Department of Agriculture and Rural Development on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Kanyana.
Honorable Speaker, the Premier, honorable members, as the acting chairperson of the Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee, I present the report on the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill allocation for 2021/2022 financial year for the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vote 11. The department's main allocation budget for the year under review was 1.016 billion and has been adjusted upwards to 1.044 billion, increasing by the net amount of 28.6 million. The department received additional funding of 22 million for a non-pensionable cash subsidy for all employees in salary level 1 to 12. The conditional grant was adjusted upward by 1,791,000 and accounts for the rollover of unspent funds from the previous financial year. As a result, the budget was adjusted upward by 2.81%, denoting an increase of 28.58 million. Now, it was reported that the following projects would be funded by the approved rollover deriving from the equitable share and conditional grants, and that is the supply and delivery of agriculture equipment, computer equipment, protective clothing, research agenda projects, motor vehicles. And the committee further noted with concern that an amount of 1.5 million was surrendered from infrastructure delivery management system capacity development due to several officials resigning from this unit. It is reported that the filling of these professional positions will not be done timelessly, and a saving was projected and needed to be surrendered. The committee has noted that with serious concern. The committee further noted with concern that a total of 10 million was surrendered for maintenance and upgrading of infrastructure projects, which resulted in delays in the implementation of projects such as maintenance at the Maryvale Bird Sanctuary Provincial Nature Reserve, construction of fence at Abibeli, upgrading and additions for Southern Water Line at Sacred Boss Rent Nature Reserve, under buildings and other fixed structures. That also was noted with concern. The department has submitted the reprioritization based on the adjustment. 1, shortfall of 4.3 million on compensation of employees, shortfall on communication strategy of 6 million, and etc. So the economic recovery program also was submitted and noted by the committee. That is the fleet services, inventory, material, supplies, travel, and subsidies. Now, coming to the concerns raised by the committee. 1, the lack of improvement on spending the allocated budget. As a result, there is continuous underperforming and not achieving planned targets. The lack of spending the conditional grants on agricultural sector, inability to complete capital-funded projects on time, for example, the Northern Water Line at the Sacred Boss Rent Nature Reserve, inability to eradicate the backlog faced with the establishment of infrastructure projects brought about by the IDMS policy. Now, as a committee, we are recommending the following, and then all the responses should be submitted to the committee by the 30th May 2022. The department should provide monitoring and evaluation quarterly reports on the progress of how planned targets are achieved and the budget is spent on planned projects. Provide the committee with a detailed report on how the allocated funds on the conditional grants will be utilized to support the agricultural sector. Provide the committee with a strategic plan on how targets that are not met due to the delay in tender processes will be achieved in the year under review. The plans should include a structural plan on how the department's tender management system has been revised and improved. Provide the committee with a detailed report on improvements made on the capital funded projects in the province. Under acknowledgement, the Portfolio Committee acknowledges and also usher some of the improvements made from the MEC office and then also some of the staff that he works with. And again, also acknowledging members of the committee for their diligent work in making sure that oversight is done robustly, and also starting acknowledging Honorable Hassan, Honorable Makubela, Honorable Mngube, Honorable Nkosi Malubani, Honorable Ghana, Honorable Selirs, Honorable Shitanganyo, Honorable Alberts, and Honorable Adams. Further appreciation goes to the alternative members of the committee, namely Mr. J. Engelbrecht, Mrs. B.F. Badenhorst, and then Mr. J. Hoffman. And it is an honor to lead such a hard-working team. Furthermore, acknowledging the staff compliments and then also their support. And adoption, after due consideration, the Economic Development, Agriculture and Rural Development Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the Oversight Report on the Provincial Adjusted Appropriation Bill of the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development Budget Vote 11 for the 2021-22 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight report on the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development Budget Vote 11 report for the 2021-22 financial year. Thank you.
Any seconder to the report? Honorable Kanyile.
Chair, I rise to second the report.
Seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Sports, Recreation, Arts, Culture, Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 12 of the Department of Sports on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Matsake.
Thank you very much, Speaker. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee on Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, I hereby tables the Oversight Report on the detail of Vote 12, Gauteng Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, first Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 2021 for the financial year 2021-2022. Madam Speaker, may I request that the part of the report that I will not be reading be considered as read by the House. I will therefore focus on the overall adjustment, recommendations, as well as acknowledgement and adoption. On overall adjustment, the department total appropriation decreased by 40,540,000 from 1,066,393,000 to 1,025,853,000, during the adjustment budget process in the 2021-2022 financial year. The decrease comprised of the approved rollover amounting to 1,895,000. An amount of 12,200,000 was surrendered from Program 1, of which 5.1 million was due to the slow progress made in filling vacant posts. 5.6 million was due to the slow progress in fully operationalizing the Kagiso Memorial and the Women Living Heritage Monument, and 1.5 million was due to the impact of COVID-19 regulations on the Premier Social Cohesion Integrated Whole-Day Programs, which restricted the contact activities from Program 2. A total amount of 14.6 million was surrendered, of which 6.7 million was from the Tricolor Games, which was postponed to the next financial year. 2.6 million was from the Sports Awards, and 115,000 was from the Nelson Mandela Remembrance Hawk, because these were downscaled due to the COVID-19 regulations, and 5.2 million from the budget allocated for bidding for and hosting major events, which was delayed from Program 4. Furthermore, a total amount of 10.6 million was surrendered, of which 10.3 million was from the Provincial Archive Center due to the slow progress in fully operationalizing the center by filling vacant positions, and 250,000 was from the community libraries due to non-installation of ICT infrastructure in Program 3. An amount of 1.1 million was rolled over on the Community Library Services Grant to perform construction work on the Acacia Community Library. The project is sitting at 96% completion, and the City of Tshwane has requested additional construction work to be done on this library. A further 808,000 was rolled over on the Mass Sports and Recreation Participation Program, conditional grant to fund accruals on the acquisition of sports equipment and attire for club development and training for the Siadlala community programs. As it relates to committee recommendations, the Portfolio Committee therefore recommends that the department should ensure proper planning to avoid rollovers, variants and shifting of funds, and ultimately underspending compromising service delivery. The committee will monitor progress on a quarterly basis. On acknowledgement, I wish to thank Honorable MEC Mbali Hlope and the acting HOD, Mr. Vuyani Mpofu, and senior officials from the department for their presentation on the first PAAB. Our appreciation further goes to committee members, Member Mudise, Member Letwalo, Member Ndlovu, Member Chabalala, Member Peach, Member Masemola, Member Sitangano, Member Khadebe, Masemola Mnisi, I meant, Member Sitangano, Member Khadebe, and Member Adams. The committee will also like to thank the group committee coordinator, Member Alo, senior committee researcher, Dr. Nenelwi, committee coordinator, Ms. Kubudi, committee researcher, Ms. Shikwani, committee administrator, Mr. Dabula, senior information officer, Ms. Kiewitz, communication officer, Mr. Ricola, answered recorder, Ms. Muremi, and service officer, Ms. Mamabolo, for their role throughout the process. On adoption, in accordance with Rule 117, Subsection 2C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture recommends that the report on the detail of the budget vote 12 on Gauteng Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation first Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill be adopted by this House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any seconder to the report?
I rise to second, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Adams, seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no. The yes of it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote number 13, which is EGAV, on the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Mpisi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'll take areas that I'm not going to read as read. The department's total appropriation increased by 134.4 million from 1.405 billion to 1.539 billion during the adjustment budget process in 2021-22 financial year. This report provides an analysis of the first Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill as it relates to the Gauteng Department of E-Government, whether the budget adjustment necessitated the review of APP and accounts for the reprioritization of resources to spending areas. On the overall adjustment, the department's total appropriation increased by 134.4, as I've read earlier. During the adjustment budget process of 2021-22, the increase comprised the approved rollover amounting to 55.2 million and the reappropriation of funds amounting to 79.2 million for the SEP UDD licenses and the enterprise support. The rollover amount of 55.2 million in unspent funds from 2020-21 financial year is for the completion and the settlement of the following projects which had already commenced but could not be completed in 2020-21 financial year. The Gauteng broadband network at 29.2 million, fully managed data center 10.9 million, laptops 11.2 million, and RMC exit plan at 3.8 million. On the recommendations, Speaker, the Portfolio Committee recommends the following: that the Gauteng Department of eGov should prioritize the appointment of the project managers for the GBN project, given the current status of the GBN project to date. On acknowledgement, the Portfolio Committee wants to thank the MEC for her cooperation. MEC Ngomora Lehoko, Head of Department, Mr. Cyril Baloi, as well as the senior official of the Gauteng Department of E-Government, that is highly appreciated. On appreciation for diligent dedication and commitment shown during this process of the schedule of the Gauteng Provincial First Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill, goes to all members of the Portfolio Committee. The committee gratitude is extended to the following support staff of the Portfolio Committee. Mr. Budibe, Mr. Ntsane, Ms. Mojapilu, Mr. Tsetla, Ms. Chilwane, Ms. Mudau, Mr. Nzibande, Mr. Dikola, Ms. Dibier, Mr. Zungu, Ms. Msimang, Ms. Ntene, and Ms. Singh. On the adoption, after extensive deliberation, the Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the report on the detailed budget 13, Gauteng Department of E-Government's first appropriation bill. In terms of Rule 172C, read with Rule 164, the Finance Portfolio Committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the Committee's Oversight Report on the details budget vote 13, Gauteng Department of E-Government. Gauteng E-Government First Appropriation Adjustment Appropriation Bill, G004-2021. Thank you.
Any seconder to the report? Honorable Kanyile.
Member.
I can't hear Honorable.
I rise to second, Honorable Madam Speaker. Honorable Malema, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Malema, seconding. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the detail of the budget vote 14 which is Gauteng Provincial Treasury of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Mpisi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll take areas that I'm not going to read as read. The main purpose of this adjustment is therefore to adjust the material under and over expenditure as well as to accommodate additional revenues received or surrendered emanating from poor performance of government's project or programs and grants. To this effect, the adjusted appropriation decreased by 79.3 million from 754.8 million to 675.5 million during the adjustment budget process. This report provides an analysis of the first provincial adjustment bill as it relates to GPT, whether the budget adjustment necessitated the review of APPs and accounts for the reprioritization of resources to spending areas. The Portfolio Committee noted that the adjustment was triggered by the surrender of funds to the Provincial Revenue Fund due to vacancies in the new approved structure that is currently being populated. Of importance, Speaker, the budget adjustment did not warrant the revision of the department's APPs. On the committee recommendation, Speaker, the Portfolio Committee recommends the following: that the GPT should strive towards filling the vacant positions within the organizational structure, which was approved 2 years ago in view of the current unemployment rate in the province. On acknowledgements, the cooperation of the MEC for Finance, MEC Ngomo Ralehoko, the acting HOD, the HOD, Ms. Mnyani, as well as the senior officials from the GPT is highly appreciated. Appreciation for diligence, dedication, and commitment shown during the process of the scheduled provincial first adjustment appropriation bill goes to all members of the Portfolio Committee: Honorable Malema, Honorable Paladi de Khamela, Honorable Macheke, Honorable Masuku, Honorable Atkinson, Honorable Randall, Honorable Mukwebo. The committee's gratitude is extended to all the support staff for their diligent and good work during this process. On the adoption of the report, after extensive deliberation, the Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the report on the detailed budget vote 14, Gauteng Provincial First Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004-2021. In terms of Rule 117(2)C, read with Rule 164, the finance portfolio
The adjusted budget allocation to the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure Development and Property Management for the 2021-2022 financial year. The committee noted that the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure Development and Property Management adjusted overall budget allocation was reduced from 3,260 million to 3,249 for the year under review, which translates to 11,911,000, which is 0.37% reduction. The department also reported that the overall budget expenditure as at the beginning of March 2022 was at 90%, and assured the committee that by the end of the 2021-2022 financial year, the overall expenditure will be at 98%. The committee will monitor the progress on the expenditure of the department at the end of the financial year. On the oversight of meaningful public involvement, as required in terms of Section 118, Subsection 1A of the Constitution, Act 108 of 1996, a provincial legislature must facilitate public involvement in the legislative and other process of the legislature and its committees. No public involvement was conducted during this period due to the short notice provided for the committee to conduct its work. On findings, recommendation, and implication on lawmaking, the committee findings and concerns, the committee was concerned that Program 3 budget was revised downwardly, and yet there is high number of unemployment in the province, that the budget allocation for CAPEX was reduced. The recommendation are as follows, that the department to ensure that in the next financial year, employment and skills development targets in Program 3 are achieved to avoid shifting of funds to other programs, that a report on measures to be implemented should be submitted to the committee by Friday, 22 April 2022, that the department to ensure that CAPEX budget is utilized in the next financial year to avoid project delays and shifting of funds, and to report to the committee by Friday, 22 April 2022. On acknowledgement, the Chairperson of Portfolio Committee on Infrastructure Development and Property Management would like to thank MEC Mutara, the HOD and the entire department's executive for their efforts in the consideration of this report. The Chairperson further appreciates the diligent deliberation of the following honorable members: Member Magagula, Dialetlabela, Ndlovu, Litsie, Diache, Fuchs, Hoffman, Mufama, and Mabala. The committee chairperson would also like to thank Budibe, Chavalala, Mdlalose, Mulibani, Kumalo, Mbonani, Ngume, and Pirimi for their work. On the adoption, in accordance with Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Infrastructure Development and Property Management present before the House Oversight Report on the Department of Infrastructure Development Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill for 2021-2022 financial year for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Any seconder to the report?
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
Is that Honorable Malima?
It's Makubela.
Oh, Makubela, thank you. Honorable Makubela, seconding. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted by the House. Can you therefore read the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Order number 18. Decision on the schedule to the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Ordinarily, the presiding officer will put the question on the votes on which there has been unanimous support, and then on those that have no unanimous support, and parties will then feel free after the question is put to make a declaration in terms of Rule 101, Subsection 1, or to have the parties' vote formally recorded in terms of Rule 101, Subsection 1, in the minutes of proceedings to a particular vote instead of calling for a roll call on such a vote. In terms of Rule 106, Subsection 1, I will now put the question on the following votes. Then I think it will be upon members to indicate whether they are having declarations or not declarations. I'm sure you can take the battery out, Honorable Badenos, so that you don't disturb the House. Or if it's difficult, put it on flight mode. Okay. Let me therefore, honorable members, call on members to state yes or no on the following votes. I will now put the question on the separate votes in terms of Rule 223, Subsection 3. Vote number 1, Office of the Premier. All those against say, all those in favor say yes. Yes. All those against say no.
Yes.
The yes have it. I have received the request for members to make declarations. I think they will indicate whether they still want to make declarations, starting with Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini. Can't get Honorable Dlamini. Can I go to Honorable Mukwebo? No declaration. Honorable Adams?
No declaration, Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Vote number 2, the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. I now put the question on vote 2. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All not in favor say no.
Yes.
I have received a request for a declaration from Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Mukwebo. Honorable Adams.
No declaration, Honorable Speaker. Can you hear me, Honorable Speaker?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The vote is adopted by the House. Vote number 3, economic development. I now put the question on vote 3. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no.
Yes.
No.
No.
The yes have it. I know that the declaration was also withdrawn on this one. Yeah, vote 3, the declaration has been withdrawn. The vote 3 is adopted by the House. I now put a question on vote 4, health. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no.
No.
The yes have it. Request for a declaration, Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Mabala. Honorable Adams.
No declaration, Honorable Speaker.
I can't hear Honorable Adams. No declaration.
No declaration, Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Vote 4 is adopted by the House. On vote 5, which is education, I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. 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 All not in favor say no. The yes have it. Honorable Dlamini, you requested a declaration. Honorable Alberts has withdrawn the declaration. Honorable Mukwebo, withdrawn. Honorable Adams.
No declaration, Honorable Speaker.
Withdrawn. Vote 5 is adopted by the House. Vote 6, social development. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no.
Yes.
Yes.
No. No.
The yes have it. Honorable Dlamini, declaration. Honorable Badenhorst. Honorable Adams. No declaration. Vote 6, social development, is adopted by the House. I now put a question on vote 7, which is cooperative governance and traditional affairs. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those against say no.
No.
The yes have it.
No.
Vote 7 is adopted by the House. Can we have a declaration, Honorable Dlamini? Honorable Tong?
No.
Honorable Adams? Vote
No,
7,
no,
cooperative governance and traditional affairs, is adopted by the House. I now put the question on vote 8, which is human settlement. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All against say no.
No. No. No.
Vote 8 is adopted by the House. Declaration, Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Lidwaba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to make a declaration.
No declaration, Honorable Lidwaba.
No.
Was Honorable Dlamini.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Let's allow your declaration.
The IFP is not happy with the pace of the hostel redevelopment. This program has been there for the last donkey years, but it's just not getting traction and no visible results on the ground. But money are spent almost every year. Therefore, we are really not happy with the IFP. Thank you.
We note the declaration. Vote 8, human settlement, is adopted.
Honorable Speaker, Member Adams.
Oh, Honorable Adams, yes.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker. I will submit a declaration to proceedings.
Okay. Continue.
Thank you, ma'am.
Continue, Honorable Adams.
I will submit to proceedings, ma'am. A written one.
It's supposed to be done in the House.
Now let's find you.
Okay. Is that the declaration, Honorable Adams?
No.
Vote 8, human settlement, is adopted by the House. I now go to vote 9, which is roads and transport. All those in favor say yes. All not in favor say no. The yes have it. Vote 9 is adopted by the House. Honorable Dlamini, there's a declaration. Honorable Lidwaba.
No.
Honorable Adams. Vote 9, roads and transport, is adopted by the House. On vote 10, community safety, I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those against say no. The yes have it. Vote 10, community safety, is adopted by the House. There's a request for declaration. Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Khatebe. Honorable Hoffman. Honorable Adams. Vote 10, community safety, is adopted by the House. I now put the question on vote 11, agriculture and rural development. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those against say no.
Yes. No.
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 The yes have it.
No.
A request for a declaration, Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Shitangano. Honorable Adams. Vote 11, agriculture and rural development, is adopted by the House. I now put a question on vote 12, sport, arts, culture and recreation. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All not in favor say no.
No.
The yes have it.
No.
Vote 12, sport, recreation, arts and culture, is adopted by the House. Honorable Dlamini, you requested declaration. Honorable Mnisi. Honorable Adams. Vote 12, sport, arts, culture and recreation, is adopted by the House. On vote 13E, government. I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All against say no.
Yes. Yes.
Vote 13. E-government
No.
is adopted by the House.
No.
Honorable Mukwebo? Honorable Adams? Vote 13. E-government is adopted by the House. I now put a question on vote 14, Gauteng Treasury. All those in favor say yes. All against say no.
No.
The yes have it. Honorable Mazwi, declaration. Honorable Adams, withdrawing again. Vote 14, Gauteng Treasury is adopted by the House. I now put vote 15, infrastructure development. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All against say no.
Yes. No.
The yes have it. Honorable Dlamini, you requested declaration. Withdrawing. Vote 15, infrastructure development is adopted by the House. Can we have the next order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Motion in terms of Rule 117, Sub-Rule 2, Paragraph A, read with 223 and Rule 224 on the adoption of Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021 and 2022 financial year. Thank you.
I now put the question in terms of Rule 223, Subsection 6, on the schedule of the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those against say no. No. The yes have it. No. Yes. The schedule to the Provincial Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 is adopted. Can we have the next order? The motion. Oh. Okay. Thank you very much. My speaking list was not adopted to the next order. Thank you very much. Honourable members, we've come to the end of our sitting for today. The motion is going to be done next week, on the 22nd. My advisor is giving me wrong advice. Yeah, okay. Can you read the order properly?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Motion in terms of Rule 117, Sub-Rule 2, Paragraph A, read with 223 and Rule 224 on the adoption of Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Let me call upon MEC Nkomorale Huku to present the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I, the member of the Executive Council for Finance, Honorable Nomantu Nkomorale Huku, table the following motion in terms of Rule 117, Subsection 2, Bracket A, read with Rule 223 and Rule 224 on the adoption of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill, that this House adopts the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004/2021 for the 2021-2022 financial year.
Any seconder to the motion?
I rise to second, Speaker.
Honourable Mpisi seconding. Thank you very much. In terms of Rule 223, Subsection 7, the question on the adoption of a money bill shall be determined by a roll call. I now call on the Sergeant at Arms to ring the bells for 3 minutes, as agreed to by the whips in terms of Rule 109. I just want to check members who are connecting virtually. Am I audible?
Madam Speaker, we hear you.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Yes, yes, Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
Yes, Speaker.
Thank you very much. What we are going to be doing now, we will read the name of a member. Yeah, maybe close the door first so that those that are here, if they are outside, they can't join. If I read your name, if you support, you say yes. Honorable members, can we listen, because you will vote incorrectly and you will want to blame the table staff, please. When you are in favor, you say yes. When we are not in favor, when you call your name, say no. However, we understand that, I know that because members have indicated that they can hear me well. I hope they will hear the table staff when they call their names. But if we encounter any challenges, please, we will indicate as well. Thank you very much. Let's read the names.
MD Makura.
Yes.
A. Lisufi.
Yes.
M.E. Kumalo.
Yes.
N.E. Mukheti.
Yes.
N. Nkomo Ralehoko.
Yes.
L.I. Maile.
Yes.
L.I. Maile.
Yes.
P.J. Mamabulo.
Yes.
N.M. Mhlagaza Manamela. AWMK Musupwe,
Yes.
MD Hlophe,
Yes.
MPF Tau,
Yes.
NF Mazibuko,
Yes.
T Mutara,
Yes.
ES Malobani, MJ Kanyani,
Oh, yes. Yes.
TE Magagula.
Oh, why do you jump now?
Oh, yes, yes.
You are jumping.
Yes, sorry, yes. MJ Kanyani,
Yes.
BP Mngube,
Yes.
okay. TE Magagula, BP Mngube,
Yes.
MG Mudise,
Yes.
GD Schneeman,
Yes.
WM Macheke,
Yes.
James BC,
Yebo.
BEW Masuku,
Yes.
MK Chilwane,
Yes.
RJ Kekana,
Yes.
PB Mabunda,
Yes.
KP Diali Tlabela,
Yebo.
DP Malema,
Yes.
DC Lidwaba,
Yes.
F Hassan,
Yes.
MR Paladi Dihamela,
Yes.
Tindlovu,
Yes.
BE Litswalo,
A resounding yes.
SK Kanyile,
Not SK, but Skanyile. Yes.
SM Litie, SM Litie, LE Makubela,
Yes. Yes.
AA Ndlovana,
Yes.
ST Msimanga,
No, ma'am.
JB Bloom,
No.
IE Mukwebo,
No.
ADW Albert,
No.
DK Adams,
Yes.
BW Dlamini, BW Dlamini, BA Engelbrecht,
Not supporting.
AJ Fuchs,
No.
R Ntsege,
No.
L N Ramolifo,
No.
BF Badenhorst,
Near.
K Tong,
No.
RB Masemola,
RB Mnisi, no.
MF Lidwaba, MF Lidwaba, CW Mabala, CW Mabala, WD Peach, WD Peach, AM Randall,
You are not audible.
AM Randall,
Hello, you're not audible. It's member Mavala. ne?
Nia.
Did you call my name?
SM Ghana,
No. Alanayo.
EF Duplessis,
No.
AW Celia,
No.
FP Nell,
No.
JJ Hoffman, JJ Hoffman, A Delange,
No.
KC Mazwi, KC Mazwi,
No.
MR Mufama,
No.
AG Chitangano,
No.
ND Radebe, MS Koma, MS Koma, MH Sirota,
No.
MS Shabalala,
No.
MS Shackleton,
No.
C Bosch, C Bosch, SJP Dos Santos, SJP Dos Santos, NM De Jager,
No.
PG Atkinson,
No.
We can hear the chamber itself.
No, they have proceeded.
Huh?
I think they have proceeded.
Who is
It
that?
did the
No,
same thing
but
with
what about us?
Oh, Speaker, you need to do the vote again. We can't hear anyway.
Honourable
on
members,
getting
let's
put
not
on
make
silent.
noise, please.
No. Speaker, we need to do the vote again because someone keeps on putting it on silent.
Honourable members, please. Honourable members, it's not yet time to speak. I have
Aye.
received a chat from Honourable Litsie that she had network problems. Honourable Nell, you were saying something?
But from my side, you did not call my name. I did not hear anything. It went silent.
And
It
who
went
are you?
silent on virtual.
It was silent.
Honourable members, I can't hear. There's someone speaking, but I don't know who it is.
It's Member Mabala,
It's
Speaker.
not you, Mabalana. I can hear you.
Yeah, but it was
The driver
silent.
here, I was saying it went silent to me as well.
As well. Keeps on going on silent.
It was
Is
on
that,
silent.
is that Honourable Dos Santos?
Yes, Madam
No,
Speaker.
we heard you. It's not an issue.
The driver as well, Madison.
Speaker, can you
Honourable Nell?
Can you recognize
Those members
Mabala
that did
and
not
Dwaba,
respond,
please?
can we just read their names again and give them another opportunity to vote, please?
Please.
Honourable Nell, we don't have to read the names. If you are certain that, because we'll check whether those members are in the
We're
group.
online, Speaker.
We know
It
those
was
that
silent.
have been having
but it went
problems.
silent. You did know.
It went silent.
Honourable Mabala, wena uthanda ukukhuluma noma unganikwa opportunity. And we can't even
but it went
organize
silent.
ourselves
And you can't
properly.
say maybe we are not here. We are here, we are listening. It just went silent when our names were supposed to be called.
Speaker.
Can you please recognize us?
You see it's gone silent again. Very.
Lema?
Chilwane mama. Yes, Chilwan.
And I'm at home.
Honourable members, we know members who are connected, and we know at what time were disconnected, but we also know members who were not even logging in. So don't take chances with us. Our systems were able to trace. So I will tell you how many members. There was no response. although they were connected because of the network. But we can also indicate members who were not logged in, therefore they can't claim to have a problem. For example, I will know Honorable Bosch submitted an apology earlier on, and we've been tracing, she never connected at all. Even at the time when we called her name, she never responded. That one I'm certain. I know there was a problem with Honorable Dos Santos, therefore will not indicate a no response.
Thank you.
No response from Honorable Mazwi. No response from Honorable Koma.
He responded. Member Mazu responded. Speaker.
That's the reason some of you can't join the choirs, because you want to all make a noise and there are whips and members that had problems. Honorable members that had problems, they're also sending me direct the indication. If you can learn to listen, and we have whips that will lead in this matter.
No, Speaker, I responded. Let me respond to you.
No, you don't have to talk now. Honorable Dlamini, I know that you've been connected, but we never receive your response. And I don't have your SMS or WhatsApp or whatsoever, Honorable Dlamini.
No, why did I have to say?
Is that Honorable Dlamini speaking?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dwaba, I know that you were connected.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I'm still here.
Yes. I know
And
that you were connected. Honorable Mabala, you were connected. You speak after the effect. And you must learn to be sharp. Honorable Mukwebo.
It's mad. Your system is mad. You've got a mad system. It's not working when it comes
No,
to
Speaker,
the
you clarified
members. But when it's the ANC
issue of
members,
Member
your system
Mabala
is working. How?
You clarified the issue of Member Mabala and Member Ledwaba.
Yes.
I just want to send it in the record, Speaker. Member Mazwi voted, and he responded.
Correct.
Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, honorable members, allow us, can we have peace, please? We want to listen properly, and we also want to count now. Let's count.
Speaker, does that mean I have not voted?
Even myself, it's a no.
If you are talking about counting now.
You voted.
Oh. But I was not asked. Okay, it's
But
fine.
they didn't call our names. It went silent. So, re tla ba sure yang hore ba nkile di-votes tsa rena.
He's gone silent again. Aye.
We are still here, but we can't hear anything now.
Yeah.
Your system started again.
Madam Speaker,
It went silent again. Am I the only one who is not?
That's on silence.
But they are counting.
It is silent
Okay,
again.
we're
Yeah.
still together.
The speaker is counting, can't you see?
We must hold
I
our
guess
own
it's
meeting.
because they are counting.
Oh,
Honorable Member Letao,
yes, sir.
how are you, my brother?
Yeah, man. I've been here since 10 o'clock. That's why I'm vote. Just skip me. Eh? Imitlolo. I heard everything since the morning until now. Lord, we're now relaying. Every time I go na jump.
So, well, it's going to be
Ba re ke vote-ile ke nyaka go kwa re ba re le ke vote-ile jwa.
O votile yes.
Ke mshaka.
Yeah.
Ke Mitlolo, re tla reng na? Hey.
Mara nna ko ile vote or yes, Tlolotebe.
Lena votile le doa ba re yes. We hear you le doa ba. Your yes is recorded. Mazwi, when you had
This
to work,
thing
this one
has
we did
been
not record
working
you.
well the whole day. When the EFF members are supposed to vote, then they mute us.
One person away from me.
Deliberate this thing. Because some of your members are not present today. This one you're not
Aye, Mabala, maybe
not going to happen.
Don't start a room. All our members are present, Mabala.
Want to see that system. Yaslanya, you can choose that system. Yeah, bad.
I'm not affiliated today. All year. Rena. We. Rona,
aggressive members of the
very
aggressive members of the ANC are here.
Refillate us, Christine.
Angila fella lona, angila la fella kay. Ali for me koramu phe.
Refillate. Tsa koramu tse.
Ay khona.
Honorable Chief Whip.
Yes, Ntate.
Ile ga mtungo.
Ai, re fone nka bele kwele.
Re le bo mane o ka rona le mathata ka marangwane ka.
Go etsagala.
A lo tlo ba complain.
Ba complain re eletse mo. Tsetsa maka dina matsi, a etsa me ka complain.
No mathata ka manchi ka marangwane ka.
O tla loka. O tla loka.
Honourable members, can we give the results? Those who voted for yes, it's 37. The no is 28. No responses is 5, which in terms of the total, at this current juncture, we have 71 members because 2 from the DA have not yet been replaced, but we also have 1 from the ANC who is the speaker who has not voted. That's why we have this number. Okay. We'll therefore request the whips to come forward and sign.
The number doesn't tally.
What is not wrong? Come and see. What is wrong? No. Honourable members, please. You know, at times when we try to pronounce and people are talking, you will want to question because you are not listening. Those that said yes, 36 members of the ANC said yes, plus 1 ACDP who said yes, it takes 237. Remember, I indicated that Honourable Letia sent me a WhatsApp. Then in terms of, Mara, you don't listen, Nell. Honourable Nell, please. Then in terms of the DA, we have 19 members of the DA that have said no. And out of that, we have no response from Honourable Bosch, no response from Honourable Peach, and there's no replacement for Honourable Moriarty. There's no replace for Honourable Mure. And there's no response from Honourable Koma, which makes it 5 no responses. And
Speaker, 5 plus 28 plus 7. I Chagani number total House Speaker.
Honourable Nell or Honourable Ramlifa, can you come and look at the Who's that member? Who replaced Mura? Atkinson is here.
Speaker, but you're saying that there's no replacement for member.
But can you come and check here? Can you come and check here? No, but we are refusing and you don't want to come and verify the information. Come this side. Okay. From Bosch, there's no.
Yeah, she's.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Yeah, one phrase about two.
No, I think we'll announce that Honorable Nell, after checking the results, he agrees with what is written here. Whether he signs or not, it's something else. But thank you very much, honorable members.
Madam Speaker.
We therefore want to pronounce that, honorable members, we therefore need to pronounce that the schedule to the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G004 of 2021 has been adopted by the House. Thank you very much. Honourable members, thank you very much for your participation. I just want to indicate that our next sitting will be on Tuesday, the 22nd. Remember, this is a long weekend. You come back on Tuesday at 10 hours sharp. The House is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Very right.
Honorable Mabulo, thank you. Honorable Ntovana, thank you. Thank you.
Ezra. Ezra.